Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where we are currently working on public schools. We'll see if that happens. It may or may not. And also, currently, in earning recognition, we're down to 2 per month. This is due to our GDP per capita fluctuations. That's understood. We'll get to that. But for now, I want to just check through this real quick. Yeah, not too much going on here. There's a transportation shortage in Isfahan. Are we currently building railways there? Yes. Okay. So we'll get that going, and our balance is dropping. So that's not great. We're going to run out of gold relatively soon, and we're building iron mines in Isfahan. To be honest, I'm going to take any of these that are not yet started. I'm going to move these down. I don't want to spam too much construction in Isfahan right now. Now, we're just moving them down. We're not getting rid of them. These in Tabriz are apparently not going to be a thing. Lead mines in Isfahan, okay, let's move those down as well. I don't want to be building too much in Isfahan right now. So that would be reasonably fine. Yeah, this looks okay now. So we're going to come back to those in Isfahan, but we're just going to do this for the moment. That's going to need some additional work. So that's understood. So at this point, we don't need to be suppressing the pro-slavery movement. We can get rid of that. And that means that we can put some of these consumption taxes back in, and that's huge. So luxury clothes, that's going to be a big one. Glass, that's a big one. Porcelain, that's great. And luxury furniture. So all of that is going to pretty heavily boost our income. Let's see what our balance ends up being like here. It's not going to be positive, that's for sure. But a significant improvement, nevertheless. Yeah, about 60k? That's certainly better. Okay, so that all looks wonderful. We'll see what happens with public schools. It may or it may not happen. It's mostly RNG chance, so we'll see. It's not, strictly speaking, necessary that it happens at this exact moment, so that should be reasonably fine. Now, our railway in Isfahan is definitely going to be interesting. I wish we could partially pause our queue, where we would, like, majoritively pause the construction queue, but we could manually enable these two. That would be great. If we could do that, I would do that at this moment. What's the current landowner opinion and clout? Their clout is terrible. I don't care. Okay, so the landowners are angry, but they have 6.5% clout. It doesn't matter. So that looks good. We are out of money at this point, so I'm going to pause our construction, and we're going to see that we're making an awful lot of money in this next tick. Yeah, 142k. So that's fine. We're going to run this for a few ticks here, and then we'll get back to constructing. The question is, how many ticks is a few? And we'll find out on that front. So our earning recognition is back to being +3, so GDP per capita needs to be in the top 20. Understood. So that fluctuates around, and that's absolutely fine. Cool. So no issue there. Eventually public schools will roll here. We'll see what ends up happening. I would love to see... What's the chance of advance? Only 6. Okay, so this is going to be pretty hard RNG at this point. We'll see what happens with that. Modernization movement, that's neat. What were they after again? Protectionism, compulsory primary school, interventionism. Okay, noted. So this is going to be RNG, and we'll see what happens with that. So we're building up a decent amount of gold reserves. We've got almost 1 million already, which is huge. The business of legislation. Okay, so the intelligentsia is going to lose political strength, or the appeasement of the anti-Russia League goes up. And I don't want to lose any intelligentsia opinion at this point, or rather, intelligentsia clout. So let's see what happens with public schools here. This is complete RNG. So we got a debate, and that's not very relevant. Reducing the enactment time is neat, but it's not huge, right? So we're currently up to about 1.5 million. I want to resume construction here. And this iron mine is going to be canceled. There we go. That'll do for now. Excellent. So we're going to be able to run this construction for a while longer. And how are we doing at this point on our peasant count? 649k? Noted. So that seems reasonably good. We're definitely seeing our GDP continue to skyrocket. We're at number 7, but we're not going to be moving up anytime soon. We're well ahead of Canada, but we're really far behind Russia. We're at approximately half of Russia's GDP. So we have a long ways to go to get caught up with Russia. That's absolutely understood. We are, of course, currently working on the electric arc process, and we will get there eventually. This war is interesting. Britain is losing the war majoritively, but they cannot be dropped below 0. Can the French be dropped below 0? No. So they're going to be in stalemate for a while. Understood. That's absolutely fine. Inefficient agriculture here, huh? Okay, so migration attraction, that's wonderful. We're going to take that. Absolutely great there. What is our current... Okay, we're an unacceptable 38. We could get this up to 46. That's not relevant. That doesn't bump us up a category, so we're not going to bother with that. We'll stick on our current government unless we run into law change issues. So that looks good for now. We're going to be finishing up these iron mines very shortly, and the railways are going to finish soon. That is, of course, a very big deal. Kandahar's damaging relations, hilarious. I wish them luck in that endeavor. And we're just continuing to work on these constructions for the moment. We'll see what happens with public schools. Maybe we have an okay set of roles here. You never know. It's hard to tell. So we still have a transportation shortage in Isfahan. This isn't surprising. We're finishing up the railways here in 2 weeks. That's absolutely understood, and once those finish, that will help matters significantly. I want to check in on taxation capacity. No issue there. Okay, that's not terribly surprising. Checking in on infrastructure. No issues in our locations. There are some issues in the Ottoman Empire, but I'm not too concerned about that right now. So that seems good, and currently we are capped on our innovation, so we don't need to do anything significant there. That looks very... Okay, so there's a bunch of those constructions in Isfahan done. So no more do we have a transportation shortage in Isfahan. That's going to significantly boost our income as well. Although I do want to check in on how that's going. So let's go into here. Okay, so there's a +1 here. There's 1 under construction in the queue. That's interesting. But yeah, this is definitely going to downsize a little bit. That's good. That's what I want to see at this moment. So we debated again. And the question is, what do we want here? So this is minus 15% enactment time again. This doesn't really do much for us. Yeah, that doesn't really change the math here at all. So this is still pure RNG, whether this is going to happen or not, but at least it's 30% faster. That's something, I guess. So we're working on these oil rigs at this moment. I want to check through our production methods and see, is there anything that we really need to work on in terms of production methods? I think we're mostly as good as we're going to get for right now. Our urban centers could go to covered markets. This is generally a bad idea at this moment, and I don't think we're going to do that. It generally doesn't play out well. So we're not going to do that just yet. We're not really in a good position for it at this moment. We still have quite a lot of extraction that we need to construct here. So we're going to continue to work on that for the time being. We're up to 68 million in our GDP, and that's looking great. Russia has actually passed the French Republic, which is down to 115. That's probably being suppressed by this war, so that's probably a temporary situation. And that's absolutely understood. We are cruising our way upward, though, and that's looking great. So you can see here, we're down to 560k peasants with a negligible amount of unemployment. We're definitely making progress on that, and with our literacy continuing to creep up, this is good. Although it looks like our literacy is starting to level off. which isn't surprising. So that is absolutely fine for the moment. We are working up some radicalism here, mostly due to decreases in standard of living. Okay, that's absolutely fine for right now. And there's the electric arc process. So that gives us the ability to produce more steel, not like we're producing a lot of it right now, but that will change eventually. We're going to swap over to the electric arc process, and I want to start working on probably the telephone. Or just straight down to compression ignition. To be honest, this is probably our best way to go. We'll go straight for compression ignition for right now. So that looks good for now, and we'll continue to let that research for a good long time. 5 years on that one. And now the question is, how much longer is it going to take to get through this queue? Well, the answer is 30 months. So that's slightly over 2 years. That's not too bad, really. We're doing quite well on that front. We're going to have to pause occasionally for our gold reserves, but overall, I'm quite happy with this situation. So we're getting these constructed very, very quickly, and the question is, yeah, this sort of thing. This is what we need to keep an eye on. So this power plant needs to be expanded in Khorasan. How are things looking in Fars? This is expanding on its own. We don't need to do anything there for now. And in Kandahar, this is going to need to be expanded. So we're definitely going to need that. We just got a good roll here. We moved to study, but that doesn't build us up momentum. So this is still pretty RNG. We'll see how that goes. So these two power plants are going in here. And yeah, as expected, these are the only two needed. That looks great. I'd love to see this war end, but that's not going to happen anytime soon unless we see some sort of a breakthrough. An electricity shortage in Mazandaran, huh? Yeah, this needs an expansion. So we'll definitely work on that. That is minus 3.5%. Okay, that's fine. So we need to stay on top of the infrastructure. That needs to be top priority here. The actual production is a lesser priority. Now, these are in Herat, which is low construction efficiency. I'm going to move those down like this. And then these are only 3%. I don't mind that. What is it in Fars? 3.6 as well. So that seems absolutely fine. We can get rid of this logging camp. There we go. So that seems okay for now. Excellent. And we're continuing to push that GDP ever upward. So we're at 71.6 million now. That's looking phenomenal. Our GDP is absolutely growing quickly. And that's exactly what we want to see right now. And yeah, the French Republic GDP is definitely tanking. The Great Britain GDP is growing. So I would argue, despite the stalemate over here, Great Britain's actually winning that war. And that's fine. So we're going to continue to work on the construction over here. Public schools, we're going to get another roll in about 50 days on, and we will see what that ends up looking like. But so far, this all looks good. I'm not seeing any major issues at this exact moment. I would very much like to get the radicalism dealt with, but for the moment, this is just going to be what it is. Ooh, additional throughput from farms. That's great. We need to continue to work on getting all of our production done, and then we can really start pivoting hard into industrialization, which is going to be the plan relatively soon here. Okay, so we've got some transportation shortages. We need to check into these. So here in Tabriz, this absolutely needs to be expanded. We don't have better production methods yet, do we? No, we don't have electric railways. Okay. So that's absolutely noted. And I want to check in Turkmenia. This probably could use an expansion. And then in Kandahar, what do we have going on here? This could use an expansion as well. Okay, so we're going to get all of that going. Infrastructure is definitely a lot less sexy to build than the actual outputting buildings, but it's far more important. Eventually, the private construction will build the outputting buildings. As long as we have the infrastructure, private construction. Great Britain is enforcing military access in another war. I don't care. We'll see what happens with public schools here. Debate. Actually, this is good. Yes, this is good. We're going to take the enactment success chance here. Now, that's going to come out of the debate chance. So we now have a 24% chance of a good roll, a 61% chance of an RNG roll, and a 13% chance of a bad roll. Okay, and to be clear, when I say RNG roll, I mean that's roughly a 50-50, whether that's a good roll or a bad roll. So, yeah, this is still pretty dicey, very RNG focused at this point. We don't have a lot of build-up on it yet, but we could get there. This is very possible at this juncture. So that's looking great. We're finishing up our power plant in Khorasan, and that is important. This is a transportation shortage in Khorasan, so we're definitely going to need to build an additional railway there. That needs to get going immediately. So there we go. There's one of our power plant constructions finished. That's great. And we're going to get the rest of these transportation shortages dealt with. I would really like to boost up the production methods of our railroads, but as of right now, we're not really in a spot to do that. So that is absolutely understood. What do we need for electric railways? I'm going for electric railways and then compression ignition. No, I'm not. This gives us diesel trains. I'm just going for compression ignition here. Okay, so that'll be fine. The Anti-Russian League is giving us an opportunity. I don't really care. And what do we got here? Pashtun National Movement. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so that all looks good. We've got these 4 railways being built, and there's only transportation shortages in 2 locations at this moment. We're not terribly surprised by that, but we're going to build in these other locations anyway. So that seems okay. We are growing our gold reserves. I think this is due to privatization. So that's understood. Huh. Okay, minus 20k. That's more like where I expected to be. So that's looking absolutely fine for right now. I was very confused for a moment there, but it all looks good. So at this point, we're definitely going to be seeing a bunch more construction going here. This is still saying 28 months, but that's mostly due to the addition of the infrastructure up here. So Turkmenia, Tabriz, and Kandahar. So that's these here. Gotcha. And then the railway in Khorasan here, we can see this is already very close to capped out, so we may as well do this. Okay, so that looks great. Now the question is, what's going to happen on this public schools roll? We have a 24% chance of a good roll, 61% of RNG, and 13% chance of a bad roll. RNG. 10% enactment success chance. We'll take it. That boosts us up to a 34% chance of a good roll here. We're starting to get some actual momentum behind this. So that's great. The Trucial Proletarian Revolt is going on over here. That's going to be over very soon. Looks like that French war is done. So that's great. Our GDP has dropped a little bit. I think this is probably due to input goods shortages, specifically transportation. And we're going to be finishing up a bunch of that very shortly. In fact, right now. So that looks absolutely phenomenal. Also, the British are constructing a lot in our country too. So that's noted. Very, very interesting there. So we're at 72.3 million GDP right now, and that puts us at number 7 in the world, very solidly at number 7. And we're creeping up on the... But we have a ways to go on that front, no doubt about that. What is the population of the French Republic? 57.1 million? Okay. So they have a lot more population than we do, which will, of course, make things a bit harder for them. That means that our per capita must be above them, though. We're at number 9 GDP per capita. Yeah, we're definitely above them. Okay, cool. So this war is broken out. We don't really care. It's fine. So with us in the top 10, we don't get an additional recognition progress, but we're going to be done with this recognition very soon. So that's looking phenomenal. We've got these sulfur mines being built right now. I want to check in over here. No transportation shortages, no electricity shortages. We do have some low market access here, which isn't shocking. This is just shipping lane issues, right? That's very normal. So that all seems absolutely fine for right now. Now, this war is going to be over very shortly. And there's no shockers there. So these sulfur mines are currently being worked on. And we don't need all that many sulfur mines or logging camps. There's some coal mines here, iron mines. All of that is going to get finished up eventually. But this is still going to take a little bit to get all of that constructed. And that's understood. So with our gold reserves growing here, I'm actually thinking about expanding our construction. Like that. We can always pause our construction if we need to, right? So let's just throw caution to the wind, max out our economy of scale. Does this get economy of scale? It does. Okay. Let's max out our economy of scale in Iraqi Ajami then. And this is a bad roll here. I don't mind taking the bureaucracy hit, actually. That'll do. So that will reduce our construction efficiency a little bit. That's understood. Hitting a bad roll there is unfortunate. It was only a 13% chance for a stall, and that's what we rolled, but, you know, it happens. So for now, that's fine, and we're creeping up on 80 million for our GDP. So checking in here, we're down to 323k peasants now. This is not surprising, but this does mean that it won't be too much longer, and we're not going to be able to put peasants to work anymore. That means we're going to be tapped out on our labor market, and we're going to have a significant labor shortage. That's coming up. So we should definitely be thinking about some form of immigration in that case. And specifically, we would be looking to go to ideally like multiculturalism for that, right? But we don't have human rights. Nobody supports this. This is probably not going to be a thing anytime soon. This would be the way to go if we wanted to maximize immigration. And that would be a good thing to do. Another thing we could do, though, is we could tackle it by tackling mortality and going off of charity hospitals to public health insurance. And then from there, cranking up our health institution up to level 5. That's the other route that we could go. So that would drop our mortality, and that would mean that our workforce would grow. Now, we're also interested in eventually going to compulsory primary school. That also requires human rights. But that's going to cut down on our labor force, and that could be a bit of a problem. Yeah, this is fine. The industrialist can build that. And yeah, this guy can find greener pastures elsewhere. That's okay. So that would create us additional problems. That would compound our looming labor shortage, right? So that is definitely something to think about. No doubt about that. So we're now constructing at 472 being the current rate, and that seems excellent. Oh, +5 legitimacy. Actually, yeah, we're gonna take that. That's good. We definitely could use that legitimacy at this moment. We're at 43 now, and that's going to increase the speed at which we can get these rolls. So that's good. Wow, a stall again. Okay, so what do we want to take here? We are going to take the setback, and that's going to give us an enactment success chance, 10%. So that brings us up to a 40%, actually 43% chance of a good roll. We've built up some momentum here, but 2 stalls in a row there is exceptionally unlucky. This is at 13%. So we will see if that continues. That'll be interesting. But it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to continue working on our... Ooh, we need A railway in Urmia? Yes, we definitely need that. We're to continue to work on our construction and get these laws passed, ideally. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Andy McGard, Dark Horse Xenocyte, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.